Welcome to Designer Anastasia, and today we are creating a toiletry bag. This is perfect for holiday gifts because you can give it to your mom, she can put her makeup in it, you can give it to your brother, you can put his razors in it, you can give it to the cat, she can put her cat toys in it. You can literally give this to anybody for a holiday gift. It is perfect. I've been sewing so many samples of toiletry bags because I wanted to come up with the absolute perfect size, and I did it. And here it is. So how did I get this perfect pattern that I'm in love with? Well, I had to sew a lot of samples, and I sewed all of my samples out of paper so I could see how they were gonna look when they were sewn up into fabric. So yes, you can sew paper on your sewing machine. Great news, this pattern is available to you. Something new and exciting, I just started a Patreon page. So anybody that signs up and subscribes in the month of November gets this pattern for free. And it's at any level, $1, $10, $75, whatever you can contribute. Anybody that contributes in the month of November will receive this pattern for free. Our supply list for this project is very minimal. You're only gonna need to go out and buy 3 things. You're gonna have to go out and buy a heavy duty fabric like a felt or a leather. I'm choosing these fabrics because they don't fray. You're not gonna have to use a serger. All we need is our home sewing machine. And then I'm gonna have you get a really cool heavy zipper so that it gives it some texture, a little more interesting than a regular zipper. And then you're gonna go out and either buy matching thread or contrasting thread. Our sewing tool list is really small as well. All we're gonna need is a rotary cutter for very precise, clean edges, because you're going to be using the leather or the felt, and our thread snip, so that way we can snip all those little threads off. And of course, a big old heavy duty pattern weight, so that way your pattern does not move around while you're cutting it out. First step is gonna be cutting out your pattern. So print it out, cut it. It should look something like this. So lay out your fabric, make it nice and flat. I chose gray felt. Again, I chose the felt because it's nice and stiff and it's gonna hold the shape of the bag really nice. You also wanna make sure that you use weights on your pattern. If you don't have professional pattern weights, you can also use cans of beans, PBR cans, whatever you got laying around that's heavy. So go ahead and weight your pattern down. Make sure it's nice and flat. Make sure your pattern is on the fabric everywhere. Be careful with your edges here. I like to keep it nice and close to the edge so that way I'm not wasting any of my fabric. Now that you have your pattern laid out perfectly, grab your handy dandy rotary cutter, my favorite tool, and let's cut it out. Okay, so now we're gonna start cutting, and you wanna make sure you are not cutting your pattern at all. You just wanna go right next to it very precisely. And you want to make sure your corners are nice and sharp when you get to them. I like to go like 1/8 of an inch pass with my rotary cutter, turn it, and start 1/8 of an inch on the other side of that corner, and just keep going around it really precisely. And you don't want to cut into your fabric more than it needs because you're going to be wasting your fabric because there'll be a cut in it. And if you don't get these little corners perfectly, you can always go back with a pair of little thread snips and cut them. Now that we've cut out our pattern, it is time to sew. So let's go ahead, remove your excess fabric, and let's see what our pattern looks like. The pattern left on the table, remove your weights, lift up your pattern. There we go. That is our toiletry bag. Just not finished. First thing we're gonna do is sew down our zipper. So you always want everything right sides together. So you want your zipper on the outside, but we're gonna take it and flip it so the right side of the zipper is on the right side of the felt. And we're gonna go ahead and sew down the edge of the zipper first. So you want to make sure you put on your zipper foot. For the regular zipper foot on the Husqvarna Viking, it's the E foot. And now we are ready to sew this zipper. Okay, so you always want to make sure you back stitch in the very beginning. On this machine, you can also hit the fix button, which I'm going to do, and it creates a little knot on the back of the fabric. Your zipper should look something like this, and now we are going to sew the zipper to the other end of the bag. So you want to go ahead and make sure it's in the exact same position, and you're going to line it up and sew this down. You can use some pins if you like. Now let's sew that other side on. When you get to the top where the zipper pull is, you're gonna wanna stop. Make sure your needle is in the fabric, and we're gonna pull the zipper pull down so that way we can sew smoothly up the end of the zipper. You're gonna turn your toiletry bag right side out, and it should look something like this with the zipper. Next, we're gonna go ahead and sew up the ends so we can actually make it look like a 3D rectangle. Go ahead and turn it inside out. It's a little stiff with the felt because it's heavy duty. And now what we're going to do is sew up these straight ends here, so where the ends of the zipper are. And you want to make sure, see how your zipper might get stuck in the seam allowance here? Go ahead and zip down your zipper halfway. And we are going to line this up perfectly. I'm going to put some pins in it so it does not move on me. Put a pin at each end. Let's see where our ends are. And then our zipper here, that's overlapping. You want to make sure that's nice and flat. Okay, and now we can go ahead and sew. You want to make sure you switch your machine foot. We're going to switch back to the A foot, which is the straight stitch foot. So go ahead, put your fabric under here. Remember, it is a 1/2 inch seam allowance on the pattern that I've created. You're going to back stitch or fix. Make sure your zipper is flat while you're sewing. Also, make sure you take out your pins before you get to them. You don't want to sew over pins. You'll break your needle. This time I'm going to reverse. You can do a back stitch. Go ahead, cut your thread, lift up, and pull out. Okay, so we have one end finished, and we're gonna go ahead and do the same thing to the other end. Now we are sewing this other end. You can sew right over the zipper if your zipper's longer than your bag. Mine is. Our bag here is starting to take some shape. As you notice, I used a longer zipper than my bag, so you can go ahead and cut this extra zipper length off. So I'm gonna use the back of my scissors on my snips and just chop that off. What you can also do is put some fray check here, or go ahead and bias bind the end of your zipper as well. Okay, so we have these corners that are cut out in the bag. They are cut out like that so that way you get perfect corners and there's no guessing on what the shape of the bag's gonna look like. So go ahead and we're going to pull open this corner and we're gonna make it flat. So you want it to be flat like this. And go ahead and flatten your seam allowance as well. So fold it open, and then we're gonna put some pins there. It's really tricky when it's this heavy felt fabric. You're really gonna have to manipulate this with your fingers. Okay. And you're also gonna do it to the other end as well. So it's going to look something like this on the end. Remember, 1/2 inch seam allowance. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and do the other side. So this is how the end of your bag should look. Looks a little weird, but I promise this is how it is supposed to look. And you want to do the exact same thing to the other end of your toiletry bag. Okay, so your bag should look something like this on the ends, on the top. It's gonna look like this, and there's gonna be this opening that we left when we opened the zipper, and we are gonna turn it right side out. So let's go ahead and flip this right side out and check out our toiletry bag. Go ahead and push those corners out. Make sure they're nice and pointy on both ends. Our bag is done. So I like to put some tassels on the end of it or a zipper pull, but you don't have to. Go ahead and unzip it, and voila, we have our toiletry bag. Thanks so much for watching Sew Anastasia today. I hope you had an awesome time sewing this fun toiletry bag. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, if you would like this pattern, make sure you subscribe to our brand new Patreon page anytime in the month of November, and you'll get the pattern for free. Even if you don't want the pattern, make sure you check out our Patreon page. The link's below and in the description. If you love what I do, Patreon is the best way to support me right now, so I can bring you so many more amazing videos and take you on all these wonderful sewing adventures. Thanks so much for watching today. Make sure you subscribe to our channel below. Check out our Instagram at Sew Anastasia, and our website's AnastasiaChatzka.com and Sew Anastasia. And make sure you check out that brand new Patreon page. Thanks again for watching. Bye!